I remember the sound first. Rain hitting metal roofs like it was trying to break in. I wasn't supposed to be out that night, but something felt wrong before anyone said it out loud. Before the sirens. Before her name started spreading like a whisper no one wanted to finish. I saw the river before they found her. Dark. Too quiet. Like it already knew. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, you already know how these stories go. Tell me where you're watching from. This channel tells stories that don't sit right long after they end. You might want to stick around. The town woke up slower than usual the next morning. Rain had stopped, but the air still felt heavy. People spoke in low voices at diners and bus stops. A teenage girl was missing. 17. Last seen walking home alone. No one said it, but everyone thought the same thing. Things like this don't happen here. Or at least they're not supposed to. Search parties formed by noon. Volunteers in rain boots moved through wet grass and muddy trails. Police taped off sections near the river. Her parents stayed close to the command center, holding on to hope like it was fragile. Every passing hour stretched thinner. The town wasn't built for uncertainty. It needed answers. Fast. They found her 3 days later, half submerged in a shallow part of the river. It wasn't deep enough to hide anything, but it had hidden her long enough. The silence that followed was louder than the rain. No one asked questions yet. They just wanted it to be over. The police moved quickly after that. Too quickly. Within 48 hours, they had a suspect. A man who lived 2 houses away from the girl. Quiet. Kept to himself. The kind of person people noticed only after something went wrong. He confessed. Just like that. They said he gave details only the killer would know. Exact movements. Exact timing. Things never released to the public. The town didn't question it. They accepted it. Because it made sense. Because it had to. The news spread like relief disguised as tragedy. People mourned, but they also exhaled. There was a reason now. A face. A story they could understand. The danger was contained. Or at least that's what they told themselves. But not everyone felt that relief. She didn't. The journalist had seen too many stories tied up too neatly. Too clean. Too fast. She watched the press conference with narrowed eyes. Something didn't sit right, and she couldn't ignore it. She replayed the timeline again and again. Something was off. The confession came too easily. Too perfectly aligned. Like it had been waiting to happen. And that's when the feeling settled in. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. She started with the timeline because timelines don't lie. At least they're not supposed to. The girl was last seen at 9:12 p.m., caught briefly on a street camera near the edge of town. The suspect claimed he left his house at 9:30 p.m. That gave him less than 20 minutes to intercept her, move her, and end everything. It was possible, but it wasn't clean, and this case felt too clean. She mapped it out street by street. Distance, lighting, blind spots. The route the girl took wasn't isolated. There were houses, cars, people who should have seen something. But no one reported anything unusual that night. Not a sound. Not a struggle. Nothing. Then she watched the interrogation footage. Not once. Not twice. Over and over until the details started to shift. The suspect sat still the entire time. Too still. His voice never cracked. Never rose. Never changed. Like he wasn't remembering. Like he was reciting. There were pauses. Subtle. But consistent. Moments where he stopped speaking mid-sentence. Eyes flicking slightly to the side. Waiting. Then continuing. Each time, his words lined up perfectly with what investigators needed. Too perfectly. She slowed the footage frame by frame. There it was again. Pause before every critical detail. As if something or someone was guiding him. But the official report said it was a clean confession. Voluntary. Unassisted. End of story. That should have been enough to raise questions. But it wasn't. Because the town didn't want questions. It wanted closure. And closure had already been announced. Signed. Filed. Accepted. She shifted focus to the river. The place where everything ended. Or where it was supposed to. She pulled security footage from a nearby storage facility facing the access road. Most of it was useless. Rain distortion, glare, shadows blending into each other. Until one frame didn't. There were two figures. Not clear, not sharp, but unmistakably two. One stood closer to the water. The other lingered behind, watching, or waiting. The timestamp matched the window the suspect gave. But his statement mentioned no one else. She leaned back, staring at the screen. This wasn't distortion. It wasn't a trick of light. It was a second presence. One the police had either missed or ignored. And suddenly, the confession didn't feel like an answer anymore. Felt like a cover. I knew the moment I saw the second shadow. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a glitch or a trick of rain on a bad camera. Someone else was there that night, and no one in power was talking about it. That's when it stopped being curiosity. It became something else. Something that doesn't let you walk away. She didn't go to the police. Not yet. Instead, she went back to where the girl was last seen. The street felt different in daylight. Smaller, less threatening. But details started to emerge when you stopped rushing. A broken fence panel. Mud dragged across pavement. Marks no one had documented. She spoke to people who lived nearby. Most gave the same answers. They didn't see anything. Didn't hear anything. Didn't notice anything unusual. It was too consistent. Like everyone had agreed on silence without saying it out loud. One person hesitated. An older man who lived across from the streetlight camera. He kept glancing behind her as they spoke, like he expected someone to be listening. He said he heard a car that night, engine running longer than usual. Not parked, waiting. The report never mentioned a vehicle. The suspect didn't mention one either. According to the official version, everything happened on foot. Quick, contained. But an engine changes everything. It means movement, planning, an exit. She checked traffic cameras feeding into the outskirts. Most footage had already been archived. Some of it was missing. Convenient gaps right where timing mattered most. But one clip remained untouched. A car passing through an intersection at 9:41 p.m. No plates visible. But the timing matched too well to ignore. Then came the leak. It spread quietly at first. A clip from the interrogation room uploaded to an anonymous forum. Unedited, unfiltered. People started watching, and then rewinding. The pauses, the stillness, the unnatural rhythm of his answers. But they noticed something else too. A faint sound beneath the silence. Voices, low, almost hidden. She isolated the audio, boosted the background noise, and there it was. A whisper just before each answer. Multiple voices, feeding him words, guiding him through a confession he couldn't have constructed alone. And just like that, the case didn't just crack. It split wide open. She didn't release the audio immediately. I wouldn't have either. Once something like that is out, there's no pulling it back. No controlling what happens next. She needed more. Something solid enough to survive denial. Because she already knew what they would say. Fake, edited, taken out of context. She went back to the victim. Not the version the town had accepted. The real one. The one buried under headlines and simplified timelines. School records. Messages. Fragments of a life interrupted. Patterns began to form where none were supposed to exist. There was a report. Filed weeks before the night everything changed. It wasn't public. It wasn't meant to be. But it existed. Complaint. Specific. Serious. And directed at someone the town trusted. She tried to access it officially. The system showed nothing. No record. No trace. Like it had never been filed at all. But systems don't erase themselves. People do that. I felt it then. That shift. The moment this stopped being about one crime. This was protection. Not justice. And protection always has a direction. She tracked down someone who worked records at the station. Off the books. No names. No paper trail. The meeting lasted less than 5 minutes. But it was enough. The report had been logged. Then flagged. then removed the same day the confession was signed. That wasn't coincidence. That was timing. Precise. Deliberate. The kind of timing that only happens when multiple pieces move together. And suddenly, the second shadow by the river made more sense. She went back to the footage one more time. Not just the river this time. The road leading to it. Frame by frame. Second by second. And then she saw it. A reflection in the water. Not one figure. Not two. Three. Her phone rang before she could process it. Unknown number. She didn't answer. It rang again. And again. Then a message came through. No name. No introduction. Just a sentence. You're looking in the wrong direction. She froze. Because for the first time, felt like someone was looking back. And if you think this is where it ends, it's not. Stay with me for the next episode. Like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves stories that don't add up.